Welcome to Devotions from Israel, a 5-minute word of encouragement. Today's devotion comes from Joshua chapter 3. If you like this teaching channel and our videos, please subscribe to our channel, as well as hit the bell if you want to be notified of new material that we post here on this channel. BiblicalIsraelTours.com is our ministry website if you are interested in upcoming trips to Israel that I lead, as well as further resource and videos on our ministry website. Once again, thank you for joining us for this session of Devotions from Israel. Sometimes it's hard to pinpoint specific locations where stories from the Bible took place. Well, perhaps this is one of these stories where in Joshua 3 we read about the crossing of the Jordan River. Now, some scholars believe that with the water that God backed up all the way to a place called Adam, it's about maybe 14 miles north of Jericho today. The water was stopped back that far to the north, and yet the Israelites crossed somewhere across from this place called Shittim, where then on the west side of the river they set up a camp named Gilgal. Most likely this is directly east of Jericho, the ancient city today that we visit on every trip, and yet this was a Canaanite city, a small but well-fortified city that Joshua would take with the conquering of the land. Actually, it was the first city to be taken. But this story about the crossing intrigues me because what happened in this story and how it unfolded. Let me read from Joshua chapter 3. Early in the morning, Joshua and all the Israelites set out from Shittim and went to the Jordan, where they camped before crossing over. After 3 days, the officers went throughout the camp, giving orders to the people, "When you see the ark of the covenant of the Lord your God and the Levitical priests carrying it, you are to move out from your positions and follow it. Then you will know which way to go, since you have never been this way before. But keep a distance of about 2,000 cubits. Between you and the ark, do not go near it." Joshua told the people, "Consecrate yourselves, for tomorrow the Lord will do amazing things among you." So Joshua said to the priests, "Take up the ark of the covenant and pass on ahead of the people." So they took it up and went ahead of them. And the Lord said to Joshua, "Today I will begin to exalt you in the eyes of all of Israel, so that they may know that I am with you as I was with Moses. Now tell the priests who carry the ark of the covenant, when you reach the edge of the Jordan's water, go and stand in the river." Joshua said to the Israelites, "Come here and listen to the words of the Lord your God. This is how you will know that the living God is among you, and that he will certainly drive out before you the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Hivites, the Perizzites, the Girgashites, the Amorites, the Jebusites. See, the ark of the covenant of the Lord of all the earth will go into the Jordan ahead of you. Now then, choose 12 men from the tribes of Israel, one from each tribe. And as soon as the priests who carry the ark of the Lord of all the earth, set foot in the Jordan, its waters flowing downstream will be cut off and stand up in a heap. So when the people broke camp to cross the Jordan, the priest carrying the Ark of the Covenant went ahead of them. Now the Jordan is at flood stage all during the harvest. Yet as soon as the priests who carried the ark reached the Jordan and their feet touched the water's edge, the water from upstream stopped flowing, and it piled up in a heap a great distance away at a town called Adam, while the water flowing down to the Sea of the Arava, that is the Dead Sea, was completely cut off. So the people crossed over opposite Jericho. And the priests who carried the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord stopped in the middle of the Jordan and stood on dry ground while all Israel passed by until the whole nation had completely crossed on dry ground. There's so many wonderful things happening here, a level of trust, a level of procedure, if you will. They were to wait 3 days, waiting on God's leading. In fact, that's a very important part of our walk of faith, is it not? Sometimes we get out ahead of God, and yet we are to wait for God's instructions. And yet the priests stepped into this raging water. In fact, the flood stage, this water was probably maybe 50, 60, 70 yards wide at flood stage. It's, of course, just a very small, narrow river or stream today. But at flood stage, the faith that the priests exhibited, and as they stepped into this river, God took care of the rest. In fact, this one verse at the beginning of this chapter indicates that you will see God do amazing things once you step out in faith. And that's certainly how it works for us, is it not? We step out in faith, and yet God says amazing things will await you as you trust in me and as you follow my lead. So today may we be encouraged to follow God's lead as we step out into life itself. Even in the difficult moments of life, we are to yet follow his lead and watch and wait for God to do amazing things. A good friend of mine who lives in Jerusalem said, if you're not being surprised by God on a regular basis, you're probably not walking with him. I think my friend Moshe is right on target here, because when we do step out in faith, God does indeed surprise us with amazing things he does on our behalf. So be on the lookout for these amazing things as you step out in faith today. Until next time, shalom.